The thrift store was a dimly lit place, filled with forgotten treasures and discarded memories. Sarah wandered through the narrow aisles, her eyes scanning the racks of old clothes. She was drawn to a bright yellow raincoat hanging on a rusty hook in the corner. It seemed out of place among the faded sweaters and worn-out jeans. As she reached for it, a shiver ran down her spine, but she dismissed it as a trick of the cold, drafty building. That night, a fierce storm rolled into town. The rain battered against Sarah's windows, and the wind howled like a tormented soul. She couldn't sleep, her mind restless. It was then that she remembered the yellow raincoat. She got out of bed and retrieved it from her closet. The vivid yellow seemed darkness, providing some comfort. As Sarah drifted off to sleep, she found herself in a disturbing dream. She was standing in the middle of a desolate street, the rain pouring down in torrents. The streetlights flickered, casting eerie shadows. She was wearing the yellow raincoat, but it felt heavy, like it was dragging her down. She tried to take it off, but it clung to her, suffocating her. Panic set in as she struggled to breathe. Sarah awoke with a start, gasping for breath. The room was still dark, the storm raging outside, but something was different. She could hear whispers, faint and barely audible. They seemed to be coming from the yellow raincoat hanging in her closet. She told herself it was just her imagination playing tricks on her, but the whispers persisted. Over the next few nights, the whispers grew louder and more insistent. Sarah became convinced that there was a malevolent presence within the raincoat. It seemed to be calling her, beckoning her to put it on. She resisted its pull, but it was becoming increasingly difficult. One stormy night, Sarah couldn't fight the compulsion any longer. She reached for the yellow raincoat and put it on. As soon as the fabric touched her skin, a wave of dread washed over her. The whispers grew deafening, like a chorus of tormented souls. She looked in the mirror and saw her reflection contorted, her eyes filled with terror. Sarah couldn't control her body. The raincoat had taken over, guiding her through the darkened house and out into the storm. Lightning illuminated the path ahead as she stumbled through the rain-soaked streets. She felt like a puppet, the raincoat pulling her strings. The raincoat led Sarah to an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. It was decrepit and foreboding, with broken windows and overgrown vines. Sarah entered the house, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The whispers in her mind grew louder, urging her deeper into the darkness. In the basement of the house, Sarah made a chilling discovery. A yellow raincoat identical to hers hung from a hook on the wall. It was as if the house had been waiting for her, as if the raincoat had lured her here. She understood now. The raincoat was cursed, and it sought to claim her as its own. Sarah knew she had to break free from the raincoat's grip. She tore at the fabric, ripping it to shreds with all her strength. The whispers howled in fury as the raincoat disintegrated. The malevolent presence vanished, leaving Sarah trembling in the darkness. With the raincoat destroyed, Sarah fled the abandoned house and returned to her own home. The storm had passed, and the world outside was calm once more. She knew she had narrowly escaped a terrible fate, and she vowed never to let her guard down again. Years passed, and Sarah tried to put the horror behind her. She buried the remnants of the yellow raincoat deep in the ground, hoping to sever any lingering connection to its malevolence. But on stormy nights, when the wind howled and the rain fell, she couldn't help but feel a lingering presence, a reminder of the nightmare that had once consumed her life. And so the yellow raincoat's curse lived on, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim to cross its path, ready to ensnare them in a nightmare they could never escape.